Welcome to Coffee Theology's Language 101 series. This video is going to be on conjunctions. Now, conjunctions, like prepositions, are wonderful little words that don't decline, which means they're going to have the same form every single time. Unlike prepositions, however, they are not followed by a word in a particular case or a particular form. They can join just two words together, but they will often be joining entire phrases together and communicating the relationship that exists between them. Conjunction join these two ideas, which is where the word conjunction comes from. Junction is the joining and the con is with, so joining with. So it joins these two ideas to express or whatever relationship exists between those two ideas. Now, these relationships come in some few primary categories. Some of the relationships are combining two ideas. Some are expressing a condition. So the combining is going to be like and, also, both, this, and again this. You know, you're just kind of saying this and this goes together, and not a ton of detail in the what the relationship is, other than they go together. The condition ones, although, however much, if perchance, in other words, this is joined together in a condition. If this condition exists, then that condition might, and so on and so forth. So if is definitely one of the major ones here. So the siwe, and that's the condition. The contrasting forms, or, either, or, although, and not, neither, nor, if not, unless. These are the these are the conjunctions that kind of show there's a contrast between this idea and that idea. Then there's time conjunctions, like cum, as we talked about, is when or since. Donek is until this, while, after. So there's time conjunctions, and then there's connecting conjunctions, which connect for the ideas of purpose, result, and such. So for, indeed, therefore, whence, since, because, that, not, moreover. These are the ones that show that connecting of ideas. Now, you just got to go through the different conjunctions, learn what they are. I will say that the better you are at conjunctions in English, the better of a writer and a communicator you're going to be, because you're going to be more creative in how you express the relationships between the ideas you're conveying. What we tend to do in English, unfortunately, is overuse and, or, and but, just do it again and again and again, instead of actually coming up with more creative ways to join our sentences, like likewise or however and such. Now, within these Latin conjunctions, there are a couple I want to touch on. One is this et, neck. You'll sometimes have neck, or well and well. Either, or, neither, nor, both, and. Now, in English, we tend to have two separate words. When we say both and, neither, nor, either, or. And so we have two words that we would use in that context, whereas in Latin, we're not going to see that. So, for example, here, we have, for to this end, Christ died and lived again. In the Latin, in hoc enim Christus et mortuus est et revixit. So in this for, the for here is what is called a post-positive, which means it doesn't want to come at the beginning of a phrase and won't come at the beginning of a phrase. So you have these other words in front of it, but in English we put it at the beginning. So we have for to this end, whereas in the Latin it's in this for, and then it's Christus et mortuus est et revixit. So it's Christ both died and or was, both died and was revived. So you have the et, which in the English does not get translated as the both and by the English translation. It's just Christ died and lived again. And so sometimes you'll get this et, and you're like, wait, for in this Christ and died and revived. Like, why are there the two ends? So you could translate that both and, or as the English version did here, just the and. The other one says that he might be Lord both of the dead and of the living. So you see the both and, but it's like ut, or to both of the dead and of the living be Lord. And so you have the et that is there. Now, as a quick note here on the issue of word order in Latin, a lot of times people are going to say word order doesn't matter in Latin, but it really is the case that word order says things, and so it does matter in a sense. Now, you can find the verb here, at the end of the sentence. There are times you can find it at different places, but usually word order in Latin is different than English. In English, word order is to show its role in the sentence, whereas in Latin it will be emphasis. When we get to the nouns, we'll get on that a little bit more. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring out about the conjunctions is this nice little conjunction of que. So que is placed at the end of a word, not separate from it. And when it's placed at the end of the word, it's not always the word at the end of the word that you're expecting it to be at the end of. So take, for instance, here in Genesis 1:3, it says, "And God said, let there be light, and there was light." So, and God said. Well, in the Latin, it's dixitque. So the que is at the end of the verb. Dixitque is and God said. Now, this can be confusing when you're not used to it, because you are looking and trying to remember what ending is que. What verb ending is that? I know dixit is a verb. What is this? It's not. It's not a verb ending. It is the conjunction being slammed onto the end of the word, and you have to catch that. It's and said God, fiat lux, let there be light, and the light was, facta est. This is also where you get the famous saying, senatus populusque Romanus, which is basically the Roman Senate and people. You would almost expect it to be senatusque populus Romanus, because you think the Senate and people, but the que comes at the end of the second word, not the first one. And so getting used to that is a little bit challenging. But that's the basic gist on conjunctions, with a few challenges. Rest of them you just have to get to know and dive in. And it's worth it, because once you get good at your conjunctions, you'll get better at writing in English and everything else. So I challenge you. Know your conjunctions.